In the middle of seeing all this breaking out of Washington, D.C., Dwight Clark, the news of his passing came about. And I don't know about you folks, but this one just hit me right in the gut. Passing away at the age of 61. It was just, let me get this date correct. It was just March of 2017 when he announced that he had ALS. What a horrible disease. What a scourge. And he passed away yesterday at the age of 61. Now, obviously, we all know Dwight Clark for the catch in the 1981 NFC Championship game, winning that game for the San Francisco 49ers, grabbing that ball in the back of the end zone. Do you have that call, Mike Del Tufo? Hit it, please.
So we were, talking about it in the huddle, and Joe was saying.
No. So the moment at the back of the end zone, Dwight Clark grabs the ball, and I'll tell you what, it was a moment I remember as a kid watching it on TV. Vince Scully with the call, Jack Buck, by the way, had the radio call, and just to put it in perspective, grabbing that ball in the back of the end zone, the 49ers had not won a playoff game going into that 1981 season since 1971. And in between 71 and 81, the Dallas Cowboys were beating everybody's brains in the NFC. They won the Super Bowl in 71, Dallas, and then went three more times, winning once. And the last time they went to the Super Bowl was 1978, and Dallas had been suddenly towards the end of the Staubach era, going into the Danny White era. They were struggling to string playoff victories together, but they were still the Tom Landry hat Dallas Cowboys. And then Joe Montana, the skinny kid, if you will, out of Notre Dame, as the story goes, the legend began. Here's the one part about the catch few people know. Ready for this one? 14 plays, 83 yards. It was the capper.
Whew. That's some drive.
A typical Montana down the field drive. Down 6. So field goal means nothing.
Right.
Touchdown or bust.
Needed
By
it.
the way, Ray Wersching, who was the kicker, who never looked at the uprights. He would always tap his holder on the shoulder to see where things were. He would that was part of his pre-kick routine. He never looked up. Yes. It's something from my child I'll never forget. He would never look up at the uprights. But the good thing he didn't look up, because the guy right in the middle was Ed Too Tall Jones. So that extra point wasn't even a gimme.
Talk about a pressure extra point.
I mean, the whole thing in Candlestick Park, and the way that everybody tells the story, that everybody thought that Montana was throwing the ball away. Even Bill Walsh was getting a fourth down play ready to be called because it looked like it wasn't going to materialize, and he was throwing the ball away. Eddie DeBartolo will tell you he didn't even see the play because he was hidden. He's a man shorter in stature, behind a police horse. Couldn't see it. Was looking at the back end of a police horse. But I had an opportunity prior to the Super Bowl between the Steelers and the and I believe between the Steelers and the Cardinals. I did an event prior to the Super Bowl with 4 guys. Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris of the Immaculate Reception, and Joe Montana and Dwight Clark of the Catch. I will never forget being the MC of that, and how both sets of all-time greats, neither of them would say point blank that that the ball hit the ground, and Montana that he was throwing the ball away. They were just all coy about it, just keeping it alive, the mystique alive. It was fun. Dwight Clark couldn't have been nicer, could not have been more gracious. And in that regard, a story about the catch that few people know. Kodak used the famous photograph from the back of the end zone with Clark grabbing the ball at the apex of the throw. And by the way, what a throw.
What a throw.
Okay.
What a catch.
which is probably why Montana's. I wasn't really throwing it away, but hey, just a wink and a nod.
I knew Dwight could get it.
Yeah, he could get it right. The famous catch from the back of the end zone that Everson Walls is in the photograph too. He is a guy who's still knocking on Canton's door. Last year thought he was going to get in or had a shot, his best shot. Everson Walls in the photograph tells a story that Dwight Clark came up to him after Kodak started using the catch in its commercial campaigns and print campaigns and let him know, hey, we're being paid, meaning me and Montana, but are you getting paid? Because you should. Everson Walls had no idea. Oof. And after Clark was letting him know about this and telling him what his rights were, he sued Kodak. And as he said last year in telling the story, when a lot of more attention went on Everson Walls because of his being a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he said he got more money than Clark and Montana put together. Because Dwight Clark was the mensch, the man, a life in full. Anybody who's ever come across him will tell you what a great human being on planet Earth he was. And the fact about his living life the way that he did can also be put into perspective by the fact that pretty much every Cowboy fan whose heart was broken by that day could still kind of tip the cap in his direction and say, rest in peace, Dwight Clark.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.